Yo, what's up, family? Before we start the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone you can, just so we get out there a little bit more. With that being said, let's get right to it, man. So the NBA Finals are well underway. A 1-1 series tied between the Nuggets and the Miami Heat. And right after the NBA Finals, the NBA Draft happens June 22nd. And as a Celtics fan, it should be a really interesting offseason. As you know, the Celtics failed to come back from a 3-0 deficit against the Miami Heat, lose in Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals. And even though it was good to come back a little bit and force a Game 7 when you were down 3-0, the Celtics still overall underachieved. This is a team that went to the finals last year, picked up Brogdon, their players got better or was supposed to get better, and their goal was to win a championship or at minimum be back in the championship game after improving their roster. That didn't happen, and now there's a lot of speculation of Jaylen Brown, whether he'll be on the team or not. His Supermax deal, will the Celtics sign him? Will they trade him? And if they will look to trade other pieces around the edges of the roster to get the team better. But something the Celtics have this year opposed to last season is a solid draft pick. Of course, number 35 isn't a lottery or anything. It's not even the first round, but for a championship contending team, if you can get somebody at the beginning of the second round, this could change the fortune of your franchise. And for a team like the Celtics, it doesn't have to be a star, it doesn't have to be a superstar, it just has to be somebody that can come in and be a rotational piece early. And to be honest, a team like the Celtics, who were 1 game away from the NBA Finals this year and 2 games away from winning the NBA Finals last year, that can make a huge difference. Here is the list of quite a few guys that are impactful at the NBA level that were drafted in the 30s. Andrew Nembhard was drafted 31st. Jalen Williams, the center from OKC, was drafted 34th, and Jaden Hardy was drafted 37th. Some very solid role players were also drafted in the 30s too. Spencer Dinwiddie was 38th, Bojan Bogdanovic of the Pistons was 31st, Jeremy Grant 39th, Gary Trent Jr. 37th, and Daniel Gafford 38th. And some very good role players who were specifically drafted with the 35th overall pick. You have Xavier Tillman, Herb Jones, PJ Tucker, and a guy I would like to hone in a lot, considering Kobe Brown, the player I want to talk about, is Draymond Green. Kobe Brown's a 23-year-old wing out of Missouri, coming out of college as a senior and going into the draft. NBA.com has him listed 6'8", 250. Sports Reference has him listed 6'7", 240. So I'll just go with 6'7.5" and 245 pounds. A really solid frame for an NBA rookie. The reason I want to hone in on Draymond specifically is because my NBA comp for him is Draymond Green. Also in a pre-draft interview, he was asked who he models his game after. He jokingly said first Kobe Brown. I'm guessing because his name, and every kid wants to be Kobe when they're smaller. But he came to a realization, and he said now he looks at himself more like a guy like Draymond. Now, of course, it's highly unlikely he's going to be the defender Draymond is, given that he's one of the best in the history of the game. But he does have more offensive potential than Draymond. His game models versatility at both ends of the court, and in every pre-draft interview I can find, he's pushing his versatility. He's trying to show people that he's as versatile as can be, and he really hones in on his physicality and the physicality of the game and why it helps him. Sounds a lot like Draymond, but let's get into his game. One thing about Kobe Brown that reminds me of Draymond the most is his passing at his size, and he is a NBA ready connector piece right now. He is a natural passer with very quick processing skills. He possesses that Kevin Love outlet pass that he's shown on numerous occasions, and he puts it right on the money for his guy to get an easy layup. He regularly precisely hits guys on cuts. He can be a very good option in the DHO game, given his frame and his ability to set picks. And something that ties into his passing that we'll talk about later is his slashing and post-up game. He showed a lot of flashes, being able to play make out of the post, driving kicks, pick and rolls, pick and pops, and just about anywhere you put him in the playmaking tip. His ability to create his own shot is where I think he differs from Draymond. Although they're about the same size, Kobe Brown is excellent at the rim. In his senior season, he shot 62.3% in the paint. He is a bully ball savant, and he has a great handle and frame that allows him to be physical enough to do so. In a lot of these clips, he's just overpowering guys and going right through them to get to his spot. And he has post-up potential given his frame, size, skill, and physicality. This season as a senior, he netted 1.15 points per possession in the post. Again, a lot of his game centers around versatility, and that still reigns true on the defensive side of the ball. He's a very strong, physical, and versatile defender, and he does a lot off instincts. He's a great helper with great timing at the rim. He's a good anticipator in passing lanes, and he's just a brick wall defensively. You will not see a lot of guys overpowering him in the NBA, and that's something I value very highly in rookies, especially ones coming to playoff teams, because not a lot of rookies have NBA-ready bodies and are ready to handle the physicality of the NBA day one. I think Kobe Brown's a guy that can do that. And lastly, something that's very, very important for any NBA player and any NBA team, if you want to stay on the court consistently, you have to be able to shoot the ball. And Kobe Brown did himself a favor in his senior year. His first couple of years in college, he was a 20% three-point shooter. But somehow, some way, his senior year, he jumped to 45% shooter from three. He shot 44% in catch and shoot opportunities. He has great off-ball feel. He's a good relocator and spacer, and he loves the corners and above the break shots. In a pre-draft interview with the Pacers, he was asked about his three-point jump in his senior year. He attributed his rising percentages to the coaches forcing him to shoot the ball in practice. They would end practice sometimes if he didn't shoot open shots or even contested ones, and his coaches just instilling that confidence in him to shoot made him a better shooter. But of course, if you're getting somebody in the second round, they're falling to the second round for some reason, and that probably means they're not a perfect prospect. First on the list of his weaknesses / improvements, things that I think will drop him this far, is of course he's not the greatest athlete. This is why I compare him to a guy like Draymond or even a guy like Kyle Anderson. These guys are of course very versatile on both sides of the court. They have very, very high IQs. They do a lot of things and they can help any playoff team. But with that being said, they aren't the quickest laterally and they can't jump as high. Him not being a super athlete could lower his effectiveness in the NBA on both sides of the court. Again, as stated earlier, as a senior, he shot 62.3% at the rim. The paint protectors in the NBA are more athletic, so maybe that could be a problem. And on defense, again, he's not the quickest laterally. He will struggle on the shifty guards in the league, but he'll do a good job guarding multiple positions because of his frame, size, and his reliance on instinct and positioning. And the last area of improvement I have for him is the physicality, because it goes both ways. I would 100% rather my players be overly physical than under, because I feel like that's easier to coach than to get somebody riled up, because they probably just don't have that in them. But there were some times on the perimeter defensively when a guy that's quicker than him gets by him. He tends to be overly physical, when he gets beat, leading to fouls. And in the NBA, that can get you off the court really quick because of how good guys are at drawing contact. And something people don't like about Kobe Brown coming into the draft is that he will be a 23-year-old rookie. For some teams, if you are drafting high and you're a team that lacks talent and you need to take a swing or potential, yes, a 23-year-old rookie is something you would not be looking for. But in a specific situation of a team like the Boston Celtics, who have a lot of talent on their roster and have been close to NBA champions for the last 2 years, I believe it would benefit them more to have somebody that is ready to come in right now. Aside from just his age, the way Kobe carries himself in interviews is something that also played a factor for me. In every interview, he's addressing the reporters as yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir, and that is the first time I've seen a rookie do that in a long time. And from everything I've gathered from interviews from his time in Missouri and his pre-draft workouts, there seems to be a consensus that he's a very good leader. And when talking about that in interviews, it's clear to see that that is something that's very important to him and something that he will continue to be doing in the NBA. And coming into a team like the Celtics, who need role players and guys to know their role, from a personality standpoint, Kobe Brown seems like a perfect fit. But this is the end of the video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, share to any and everybody that you can. I would greatly appreciate it. And please don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. Tell me how you think Kobe Brown fits with the Celtics, or if there are any prospects you think the Celtics should have their eye on 35, and also who you would see me like to do another video on. But this is Nick. Peace.